A leading advocate for marriage believes the Supreme Court will protect traditional marriage. Mike McManus heads Marriage Savers, a ministry to strengthen the institution of marriage in America. And he also writes a regular column on marriage and family issues. He joins us now for more. Mike, first off, you say that gay marriage should be left up to the states to decide. Why do you think that's the better course?
Well, only 3 states have actually voted for same-sex marriage. 8 other legislatures have voted for it. But we have it in 37 states because the courts have imposed it in 26 additional states. And it seems to me it should be up to each state to decide whether they want to allow same-sex marriage.
Now, I know that you have looked at the justices' questions and the whole debate in the Supreme Court very carefully. Do you think that they will agree?
Well, the swing vote is Justice Kennedy. He voted in the affirmative in favor of gay marriage in 3 separate earlier cases. But what I was struck by was what he said in the Supreme Court hearing last week. He said, I don't even know how to count the decimals when we talk about millennia. The definition of marriage has been with us for millennia, and it's very difficult for the court to say, oh, well, we know better. That's encouraging. And even liberal Justice Stephen Breyer said the marriage between a man and a woman has been the law everywhere for thousands of years among people who are not discriminating against gay people. So it's possible you might even pick up a liberal vote there. Now, both Kennedy and Breyer said kind things about gay marriage, and so they could go either way. But as John Roberts put it, Maine voted by referendum to limit marriage to a man and a woman in 2009, and then 3 years later changed their mind and allowed it for same-sex marriage. And he said, why can't we wait until the states come to their own conclusions about this? People feel very differently about something if they have a chance to vote on it than if it's imposed on them by the courts. I think that logic will prevail.
What is your biggest concern if the Supreme Court does rule in favor of saying that same-sex marriage is a constitutional right?
What that does is it's going to force everyone to obey. For example, pastors who may not want to perform same-sex weddings could be sued. We have a case of a baker out in Oregon who's being forced to pay $135,000 for refusing to bake a cake for a lesbian couple. The imposition of same-sex marriage will also impose a massive discrimination against those who have traditional beliefs in this area. And the polls seem to be on both sides of this issue. Some polls, one by, I think, ABC, showed 61% favor same-sex marriage. But if asked the question, should the states be allowed to decide whether there should be same-sex marriage or not, a clear majority favor that.
Well, a lot to watch, a lot of questions if the court does decide in favor of same-sex marriage. Mike McManus, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.